For us and understand what Passover is really about. Let's welcome in Managing Director of the Coalition for Jewish Values, Rabbi Yaakov Menken. Great to have you on this morning, Rabbi. So tell us a little bit about Passover and what makes this holiday so special.
Well, to put it in modern terms, it's a great example of parental control of education, because you have parents sitting down with their children, with their extended family, talking about the miracles that happened to the Jewish people back in Egypt, the miraculous rescue from horrible conditions of enslavement. And there are so many things done in the Seder to convey that message to children, to keep them interested, to keep them aware and awake at that hour. And that's a great part of the holiday, is just the way that the whole family comes together to bring this message alive.
You know, you mentioned it, Rabbi. The centerpiece of Passover is a special meal called a Seder. And what would you say to someone who's never experienced a Seder before? I mean, how would you explain the essence of it?
Well, the whole point of the Seder is to, again, go through those miracles, to recount them. It's written down so that we have a good understanding of, what it is that we're going to get through, and we have to talk about. We have to talk about the matzah. What was it about the rescue from Egypt that was so quick that they didn't even have time for their bread to rise? What was it about the maror? Well, the bitter enslavement and the Passover sacrifice that they would offer in the Holy Temple in gratitude for what had happened to the Jewish people back in Egypt. This is how we became a Jewish nation.
And we know that Passover is one of the most widely celebrated Jewish holidays. What do you think makes it so universally important, even for people who may not strictly observe other Jewish holidays?
Well, I think the other answers I gave you, Charlotte, were kind of a setup for that answer, because when it's all done in a very family way and bringing people together and, getting the little kids involved and keeping them aware of what's going on, while, of course, the adults are having something for them, too, to bring all of that together makes for a very special ritual that people look forward to throughout the year.
Rabbi, given what's going on right now in the Middle East, in Israel, does that give additional meaning and importance to Passover that we may not be around in other times?
Well, it's interesting how Passover manages to answer to each generation, but certainly you look at Pharaoh, and in fact, you can open the book of Exodus and just read the story and think about how irrational Pharaoh was. It wasn't just that he didn't know Joseph, who had saved the entire country. It's that he regarded Jews as a hostile force who would join with the enemies, and then they would leave and go to their own place, all of which was horrible. Wow, doesn't that sound a lot like what people are saying on campus?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. What have you been hearing from Jewish people lately? You just mentioned what we're seeing on campuses and what we've been seeing, the antisemitism throughout this country. What are you hearing from Jewish people in this country, especially as this holiday approaches?
Well, I think many who've been detached from their traditions have realized, as a result of anti-Semitism, and anti-Semites certainly don't realize how much they are encouraging Jews to wake up and to move to Israel. Jews are more involved in Jewish ritual because of what they observed, and they was, hey, there must be something special to be a Jew if we're being hated so much. And guess what? There is.
Lastly, Rabbi, is there something about Passover that you think we may not fully understand, or that is a misconception about Passover that you wish people better understood?
Well, this idea that it brings a whole family, it's a model for education. It's a thousands of year old model for how education can be done in a way that involves adults and children. And at the same time, it's about family and coming together and knowing. The one key element of the Seder is reciting, this is what has stood for our fathers and us, that in every generation they rise over us to kill us. In every generation, they're going to be anti-Semites. They're going to rise over us to kill us, and God will save us from their hands.
Rabbi Yaakov Menken, great to have you with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now it's time for your morning news.